We now only have 5 years to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and AI holds great promise to advance many of those goals and targets. So anything from climate change to clean energy to affordable healthcare, education for all, spotting gender inequities, and looking at more physical manifestations of AI like autonomous driving, robotics, brain-computer interfaces. I think it's safe to say that the use cases are definitely there. But how do you know a high potential AI application works equally well on men or women, on children or the elderly, persons with different skin colors, persons with disabilities, or in low resource settings where things like electricity, 5G, Wi-Fi, access to data, things we take for granted, are real concerns. So these thoughts, it's not a natural reflex for the fast-moving tech and startup industry. I think the track record so far has been build it and we'll fix it later. But these are things that the AI for Good community thinks deeply about. So what is AI for Good? Well, simply put, it's to identify practical applications of AI that are trustworthy to advance the SDGs. And how do we do this? Well, first of all, we can't do this alone. So we have 47 UN sister agencies as partners of AI for Good, contributing to our standards, to our collaboration efforts, to capacity building around the world. And also, one of our catchphrases is that AI is too important to leave to the experts themselves. So great efforts have been made to bring us many voices to the table, from our 194 member states to our UN agencies, civil society, of course, the tech industry, academia, media, NGOs, young people, creatives, artists, they're all there for AI. And one thing I'd like to stress as well is that even though we're doing quite well with connectivity, 1/3 of the world is still unconnected. So that's 1/3 of the world that's not participating in the AI revolution. And for me, it's not a question of coverage for the sake of coverage. It's, how do you get people to participate? How can you use AI to create the incentives for people to move online, to access government services, to access content in their local language or dialect? A lot of times people are illiterate, they can't read, they're disabled. And I think AI could be used in a way to reduce the friction with speech to text, text to voice, all these different applications, and really move people online. Again, not for the sake of creativity, but to basically get that engine firing on all cylinders so they can participate in creative problem solving, finding solutions, shared culture, shared storytelling. And I think that's still a missing piece of the puzzle, is how do we get that 1/3 of the population to participate in the AI revolution? One of our catchphrases is we're more than a summit, and we're known for the summit in Geneva, but we have collaborations going on all year. We develop AI standards. We have 220 AI standards developed on cybersecurity and optimizing telecommunication networks and multimedia and environmental efficiency for data centers, for example. And one thing we did is we had an AI governance day last year, and the theme was moving from principles to implementation. And the idea was we had all the major governance processes there from the US, UK, China, Japan, Korea, but also bringing ministers from about 80 developing countries to the table with the UN and NGOs. And the idea was, how do we move from principles to implementation? And what we found is there's more in common than there is that separates us. And if there was 2 pain points that emerged from that day, one was how do we handle misinformation and deepfakes, and one was how do we bridge the AI skills gap. So we developed a standards initiative to basically build collaboration around deepfake detection techniques and AI watermarking to handle the deepfake misinformation parts. That's been launched. And yesterday we launched the AI Skills Coalition with 30 partners, including Microsoft, AWS, Deloitte, and what have you, to really bridge that skills gap, especially focusing on developing countries. And I just want to finish for thanking you for your work on GovStack. It's super important to use all of this knowledge and know-how and build collaboration to enable governments to transform digitally, but to offer digital public services in a way that are open, interoperable, and again, focusing on developing countries. And this morning, our Secretary General, Doreen Bogdan-Martin, launched the Open Wallet Forum with the Linux Foundation, where we're going to add to that toolkit with digital wallets that could be used around the world. And I think last but not least, I invite you all to Geneva, 8th to the 11th. It's summertime, it's free, it's open. We need your inputs, it's open for all. So you're all invited. Thank you.